representing the Lord Provost here this evening, Baillie Neil Cooney.
The scourge of fascism had to be stopped. Spain was seen as a key battleground in the defence of democracy. Most of the volunteers, like the lads from Aberdeen, had been fighting fascism in their own streets. Many were ideological warriors who saw Spain as the first step in the creation of a brave new world. Spain gave them the opportunity to show their mettle, and by golly, they showed their mettle. Ordinary guys with extraordinary courage. 19 Aberdonians went out to Spain. 5 of these lads died there. Those who returned had no regrets. They were humbled by the sense of sacrifice. They retained the belief that fascism could have been killed off in Spain. The Second World War could have been prevented. They were fighting a local war in order to prevent a global tragedy. Bob Cooney, my uncle, always convinced, he says, and I'll quote him, he says, the defeat of Hitler started in Spain, and the world was alerted to the true nature of fascism by the destruction of Guernica and other atrocities. Those who died in Spain were among the cream of their generation, the dedicated, courageous go-getters. They put their lives on the line. Spain robbed us of their talents. They had the potential to achieve so much back home in the UK. For the families of the slain, and this is where the trust comes in because they did a super job here, but for the families of the slain, life was particularly hard. The widows faced a terrible struggle bringing up their youngsters. There was no war pension, only the humiliation of having to beg for handouts from the parish. Some of the bairns had to wear parish boots, suitably marked so that the whole world would know they were parish boots. Other orphans wore shoes lined with linoleum to cover the holes in the soles. Nevertheless, these bairns could walk tall, immensely proud of what their fathers had done. In Spain today, the young don't remember Franco. The old would prefer to forget him. But we must not forget. We must always remember the gallants who went out to Spain, men and women. Their contribution was a unique one. They should never be forgotten. They are the heroes, the first heroes of the battle against fascism.
They turned coat and joined in file attacks, but many a loyal one there was who gave their all in Labour's cause. Bob Cooney was the latter kind. No treacherous thought ever crossed his mind. He sought no honour or reward beyond his comrades' true regard. Alive to all the workers' needs, his words no stranger to his deeds. No dithering, no changing mood. No one ever doubted where he stood.
Came back to find the poverty was still around in Aberdeen, and the big issue was housing, lack of housing. So because of that this court was named after Bob Cooney, his links to housing. I'm proud to say that my father opened this complex, and so it's a very touching moment for me to do this week commemoration for Bob. He was, in his own words, he was a man and a half. Can I take pleasure in opening this? This is Tommy's technology, so I hope I can cope with it. Oops. Lovely. Good box, Tommy. Thank you.
El segundo de metralla para recordar memorias. Si me quieres escribir, ya sabes mi paradero. Si me quieres escribir, ya sabes mi paradero. En el frente de Gandes, primera línea de fuego. En el frente de Gandes, primera línea de fuego.
Get out the cold weather. Thank you.
before I seen the light of morning. A comradeship of heroes was laid. From every corner of the world came sailing the 5th International Brigade. They came to stand beside the Spanish people. Viva la Quinta Brigada, no panther and the place to fight the fight. Atalante's crying around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. Now it's in front.
I looked carefully and realised it's another banner. Oh, that's
Frank Ryan.
Ben Ryan, yeah.
There's Joe Monk, sir.
Just to confirm,
Before learning the lessons from the past, back in the 1930s when the black shirts were being opposed in Aberdeen, what they did then was they sent their sons and daughters either on foot or on bikes if they could afford them in those days, which was probably unlikely, but all these people, all the sons and daughters were posted round Aberdeen looking for the fascists coming in, and there was a chain of communication back to the nerve centre who would then start organise the opposition to the fascists. We did the same that night as well. While we were having our comedy and music night and poetry night in the social club, there was actually students out on bikes going round the town, keeping an eye out to see if in the centre of town anywhere the National Front were going to have their static demonstration. And we would then obviously be prepared to leave our night for a break and go and oppose the National Front at that time. The Aberdonians at that time organised, there was 10,000 of them, it's mentioned in this report, down at the beach. They met down at the beach and they marched all the way up into the centre of Aberdeen, and that's when that opposition to the fascists took place then, just I think before the Spanish Civil War kicked off. And actually this afternoon there's leafleting going on in a part of Aberdeen. But it's very much, you know, this group of Aberdeen Anti-Fascist Alliance who are continuing, along with the support of the Trades Council, the great traditions that were built on back in the 1930s. Thank you.
They act unselfishly. They go the extra mile in life. And the other thing is they tend to defy adversity. They overcome their fear, and they just go through it and sort of, even if there's easier options, they always go for what they believe is right. They're quite courageous, noble people. They usually stand up against what everybody else believes. Even if they're unsupported, they still go for it. And the last thing, the most important thing, is that they persist and they're committed to what they believe in, and they keep chipping away until they get what they want. Or what they believe in. They're always doing the right thing. So when I look around, there's millions of heroes in the world. It's not just these two people or all the brigaders or anything else. Everybody's a hero, because there's lots of people defying all odds. And basically, what I think is right in life is to do something and keep doing small things, because small things make big changes.
Russian association asked me to send the IBMT warmest greetings. Yeah, and they were very glad when the connections grow up from IBMT to Moscow, and they want to tell you that they are existing. They are collecting material about that time, and they want to remind all the people in Russia about this, the Russians volunteers, and they want to organize exhibitions.
I descend beneath the swastika of Spain. Oh, viva la quinta brigada. No Lazaran played the white. And the Lanties cry around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight. This song is a tribute to Frank Ryan, Kit Conway and Guinea Cody too, Peter Daly, Charlie Reagan and Hugh Bonner. Though many died, I can but name a few. Danny Boyle, Blazer Brown and Charlie Donnelly, Liam Tomlinson, Jim Straney from the Fall, Jack Nolte, Tommy Patton and Frank Conroy, Jim Foley, Tony Fox and Dick O'Neill. Oh, viva la quinta brigada. No Lazaran played them in the fight. And the Lanties cry around the hillside. Let us all remember them tonight. Oh, viva la quinta brigada. Let us all remember them tonight. Oh, viva la quinta brigada. Let us all remember them tonight. Thank you.
27 years is not long. It seems but yesterday that we left that war-torn hill above Gandesa. Is it perhaps because I'm growing old, that thought now skips so lightly down the years, and the travail of a quarter century melts in the vision of those great days we lived and knew that we were living. We were at war, and yet we were at peace. We knew a peace we had not known at home, where conscience nagged, or even perished the thought, but that thought won't perish in London here today, in Paris today, in Warsaw, Prague, and Rio de Janeiro. There are men and women exiled these 27 years. But today, there is a spring in their step, and a meaningful phrase on their lips, a phrase that is more than a phrase. It's a promise to Spain, to themselves and to each other, and a promise to you too, Cadeo. Hasta La Vista Madrid. How do you like that promise, Cadeo? Will you be there? We'd like to know, for we're coming too. There is so much we want to see once more. We want to stroll in the Puerto del Sol and the Ramblas of Barcelona. We will cross the Ebro and drink with our friends in Mura, friends who will be free. We will look at them and at each other, and each of us will think that this is why we came in 1936. And if I live to be 100, I'll have this to be glad about. I went to Spain, and because of that great yesterday, I am part of the greater tomorrow. Hasta la vista, Madrid.
Far distant, lies for years the brave. No tombstone memorial to hallow his grave. For his bones they lie scattered on the rude soil of Spain, and young Jamie Foyers in battle slain.
Just about. Now the sun sure shines on the green fields of France. There's a warm summer breeze that makes the red poppies dance. And look how the sun shines from under the clouds. There's no gas, no barbed wire, there's no guns firing now. But here in this graveyard, it's still no man's land. The countless white crosses stand mute in the sand. To man's blind indifference to his fellow man, and a whole generation that were butchered and damned. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they sound the death march as they lowered you down? And did the band play the last verse and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers over the forest? Now young Willie McBride, I can help wondering why, to those that lie deep know why they died. Did they really believe when they answered the call? Did they really believe that this war would end war? Now the sorrow, the suffering, the glory, the pain, the killing and the dying were all done in vain. For young Willie McBride, it all happened again, again and again, and most likely again. Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Did they play the strife much as he lowered you down? Did the bands play the last verse and chorus? Did the pipes play the flowers over the forest? Anybody know the chorus? Did they beat the drum slowly? Did they play the fife lowly? Down the death march as he lowered you down? Did the band play the last verse and chorus? Thank you. Well done yourself. Great song.
From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we've set this valley free before we're through. You will never find peace with these fascists. You will never find friends such as we. So remember that valley of Harama, and the people that will set that valley free. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we'll set this valley free before we're through. All this world is like this valley called Harama, so green and so bright and so fair. No fascists can dwell in our valley, nor breathe in our new freedom's air. From this valley they say we are going, but don't hasten to bid us adieu. Even though we lost the battle at Harama, we set this valley free before we're through.
Many of you are here today to remember people who were committed to making the world a better place. Their commitment to that vision took them to distant lands and to fight for a cause they thought was right and just. And many from around the world volunteered to serve in that same cause. And many died for that vision. The political and social and military forces of that day were testing their resources during the Spanish Civil War. It was a prelude of what was to come. New weapons of war were tested on civilian populations, and that has become the norm.
His mass rally was organised for 16th July 1937. Early on that day, a crowd of ordinary Aberdonians met at the Broad Hill and vowed by acclamation that the Castlegate, their forum, would never be fouled by fascist propaganda. And so the fascist rally was broken up. The fascists were sent running. The local press claimed that 10,000 turned up in the Castlegate to throw them out. This was probably an exaggeration, but it was a fairly impressive show of force. The students fled, leaving their trampled flag behind, as did the heavies, along with Chambers Hunter and his bedraggled bodyguard. They came to Spain as brothers, fired with a love of liberty and justice. They were undertrained, outnumbered and ill-equipped, but no one could question their courage and their motivation and their idealism. The Aberdeen contingent ranged in ages from 22 to 43. All of them were old enough to know their own minds. They came from a wide range of occupations: clerks, railwomen, a couple of ex-soldiers, a blacksmith, a boiler maker, a butcher, labourers, a landscape gardener, hotel worker, commercial traveller, office workers. And they came from every working class area of the city: School Drive, West North Street, the Green, the Hargate, Great Western Road, John Street, Stafford Street, Forbes Street, Victoria Road in Tory. Two had actually emigrated to Canada to start a new life. They came back to defend democracy in the old world. 5 of the Aberdeen contingent died in action in Spain, all of them in the year 1938. 2 were in their 20s, 3 in their 30s. It is right that we remember these courageous volunteers. Those who cannot remember the past are perhaps condemned to repeat it.
O holy Thorn, Santa Espina, let me hear your notes again, where we fought with pride, yet often cried, with your defiance and your pain. But no one is left now to intone your proud refrain. The woods are so silent, and the singers dead in Spain. Yes, man will sing loudly in that sweet tomorrow of the beauty of life and the hawthorn tree in flower. And today, as we remember those dead of the International Brigade who fought against fascism in Spain, it is particularly appropriate to remember Luis Campanch, the president of Catalonia, who on August 15th, 75 years ago this week, was executed or judicially murdered by Franco's fascists.
These do not die, who were in love with living, enough to lose it for some other's pain, who gave the world but did not count the giving, its unforgotten images of Spain. We grasp these hands, no tyrant can ignore, of quiet men of peace when roused to war. As Neil says, 30,000 volunteers for liberty went to Spain. Here in Aberdeen, we were aware until last year that there were 19, and their names are on the plaque in the music hall. Killed in action were Thomas Davidson, Archibald Dewar, Charles MacLeod, Kenneth Morris, and Ernest Sim. Those who returned were Davy Anderson, Walter Bruce, Alfred Christie, Robert Cooney, Robert Cooper, Charles Downey, William Dunbar, George Forbes, Alexander Gibb, John Londragan, Alexander Reid, Robert Simpson, John Watson, and Charles Watt. Through the good work of a local activist, Gavin Byers, we've now discovered names of others who were born in Aberdeen, but we understood had emigrated, particularly to Canada, but went to Spain as well. There are Duncan Davidson, Robert Dickey, John Gallo, Alexander McLean, William Petrie, Albert Smith, John Smith, and William Tuck. Very close to Aberdeen in the Shire, there were three members of one family, Anne Murray, Tom Murray, and George Murray, who when they were young, their family moved to Perth, and they are on the memorial in Perth. But it is our intention here in Aberdeen to create a new plaque and include all these names and any other names that may surface of people who have connection to Aberdeen and the greater Aberdeen area. And we will, of course, for the first time, carry the replica of the Spanish Republican Army flag that has been produced by young students at the Grey School of Art. The original flag was used as a shroud for the burial of Archie, Dewar, and Tom Davidson, and it's on display in the Aberdeen Trade Union Council office at 22A Adelphi. But it will be our aim to have the City Council take ownership of that flag and have it displayed permanently as part of a new memorial in a public building in this city. The replica flag will be blessed later on today as part of this church service, and then it will be carried by relatives of Archie Dewar when we parade down to the Castlegate.
Oh God, we ask you to bless this flag, gratefully remembering those who died under its colors, and those who contribute ever more to the causes of liberty and justice for all. Unite us, O God, in all good things, and bring us at last to that blessed day when swords will be turned into plowshares, war will be no more, and the joy of human community will overcome all that divides us. We speak these hopes and prayers from diverse faiths, yet with common commitment, and we ask your blessing on us and on this flag, this day and always.
Well, that's us. We're in a cycling club called National Currents. It's a socialist cycling club. 4 of our members died in Spain, in the international brigades.
Slowly, that they play the fife slowly, that they sound at that arch as they lowered you down, and that the band play the last verse and chorus, that the pipes play the flowers over the forest.
We hope everyone had a great time meeting old and new comrades. We wish you farewell in the true spirit of internationalism, solidarity and friendship. We wish you all a safe journey home and haste you back.
So thank you, Aberdeen. Thank you for making us know that we're among friends. We deeply appreciate that. And thank you above all for cherishing men like Bob Cooney, whose plaque is over there, and who fought fascism on these streets. Men like Tom Davison, who was killed at Jarama while defending Madrid in February 1937. Men like Archie Dewar, struck down at Castlegate in Aragon in March 1938 after Mussolini's tanks broke through the Spanish Republic's defences. And men like Charlie MacLeod, Ken Morris and Ernie Sim, all Aberdonians killed in the epic Battle of the Ebro in the summer of 1938.
The International